spicy content.
Yeah.
Well,
definitely.
do you want to open it up for us, Lily?
I can, yeah.
Okay.
I was just trying to see if I remembered the intro, but you know what? We'll just wing it. That's okay.
There you go.
Welcome, everyone, to That's Effin' Weird. I am so happy to present tonight. Please, everybody, say hi.
Hello, I'm Clark, aka the Reverend Michael Snakebite.
I'm Seth.
And I'm Megan.
Hey, guys. And I'm Lily. Tonight, I have a bit of an interesting piece of drama, internet drama, to bring you. It has its silly moment. It has its serious, little creepy moments. I'm going to try to keep it brief because there's a lot of details and I don't want to bore you tonight, but it's definitely a strange one. Have you guys heard of the YouTube creator called MamaMax?
I have.
I have not. Not at all.
I just learned today.
So he's like a medium-sized creator. He has a bit of a reach on YouTube. Not too big of a channel, but he's been on the platform for a long time now, on and off, sometimes just not posting anything for a year or for a few months and then just coming out with the project. He's been the subject of a bit of a controversy since, I want to say it started a couple years ago. My cat is spazzing out, sorry. It started a couple years ago with another creator that he didn't see. He just didn't really get along with. We'll get back on that since there has been new development about that today. But his name has been thrown back into the drama sphere of YouTube this past month. Let me put the cat down. She's digging her claw into my arm.
Oh no.
Sorry. Okay. Now I can focus on my notes and not on the bleeding in my arm. So MamaMax, I would describe him right now as a self-proclaimed pedo hunter. I may refer to them as predator, PDF file, anything to circumvent YouTube's dislike of the word predator. So I'm going to try not to say that word too much. Same as the R word. I might just say essay instead. I would say that he has also a pretty big ego. I will give him that he's a very talented creator, but there's a lot of megalomania and a lot of ego surrounding him. He usually talks with a very heavy, deep voice modulator, which gives him this very a lot of gravitas when he talks. It's pretty fun in retrospect because it's ridiculous. But first, when you come in contact with this content, it's kind of interesting. Hey, how's it going? He has faked a lot of the topics that he brought to his YouTube channel, sometimes just completely removing the video altogether and not really addressing the aftermath. He's admitted to faking videos, to faking part of the videos, and to just completely making stuff up to embellish or make the predator in his video look worse. He has also claimed that, speaking of the subject of his video, that himself and his family have been in danger because he's been working so hard trying to protect our children and just trying to do good, so his life has been put in danger. And in order to protect him, in order to save him, guess what he did? He asked his audience to join his Patreon and just to support him financially to keep him safe. So as a baseline, I think this is a pretty good introduction to the character.
Mm-hmm.
All day today, I've been reviewing my notes, and there's also been developments about his most current controversy and the one from a couple years ago. So I'll try to touch on that as, but keep in mind that the info might be updated in a future episode or even in a post. So back in October of 2023, he posted a trailer that didn't really do good on his channel. He will end up deleting that video, or at the very least hiding it. I can't remember the word, but he unlisted the video. So now you have to either have the link, or if you can do some Google foo, you will find the video. I posted it in the podcast picture, I think, channel of our Discord. So if you want to give it a watch, you can, but we'll talk more about it here in a second. He's also, he defines himself as a creator, but also as a filmmaker, which of course, doesn't help the credibility when he does the investigation side of things. But in the past, he's made a fundraiser on Patreon to produce a film mockumentary. And it was a very heavy story. It was a heavy topic. According to himself, it's to just raise awareness and use shock to really bring attention to those heavy topics of child trafficking, SA, and all of that not so fun stuff. It wasn't really well received, this mockumentary, when it came out. It was just, the subject was too heavy for how it was made, and it just came out a little bit silly and shocking, but not in the right way, and he kind of lost a lot of his audience on that. He will end up depicting an explicit, abusive situation involving a child. Please fill in the blank. But on his Patreon donators, as they reacted to this content, they really just did not get it. They didn't get why it needed to be done this way to raise awareness, and it just could have done a lot more delicately and a lot more thoughtfully. He will explain to that it was not, in fact, a child actor. It was, so I have to get this right, it was an advanced general intelligence experiencing human-like exploitation. I'm not entirely sure what that means. I feel like he asked ChatGPT to say, save my ass. I need people to understand that it was AI and that simply wasn't a child actor. And I think that's what came out. So it's like, you can't really blame him for depicting this very suggestive, this very gruesome scene, because it was all fake. So we're all good, right? If you're interested in looking more into this mockumentary, even not to watch it, but just to read more about it, you can find it online. There's archives of most of his videos, and the name of this particular film video is called You Can't Hurt Me. So if you want to watch that or read more about that, you can. Now, I kind of want to ask you guys what you think about this way of raising awareness and kind of shocking your audience, or, trying to reach out to people and just absolutely bombarding them with like either a gruesome or just a scene that goes too far. What do you think about that? Do you think that's effective? Do you think you're losing people more than anything? And it doesn't have to really relate only to SA or to trafficking. It can be about, anything, veganism or animal cruelty. What do you think about that method of reaching out to people?
It seems. Go ahead, Clark.
I don't personally like it, but I have seen it used. If you think about it, like UK and Canada have both, and that's just particularly two examples I know of, using things like drunk driving awareness, or things like that, drug awareness and things like that, doing very over the Japan does it as well, like doing very over the top advertisements, kind of showing the ill effects or aftermath, I guess you would say, like a graphic aftermath shock you to make the public aware and think twice. So I know particularly in America, it's very kind of shunned, or not, they don't do that as much in advertisements and things. That's always been like kind of not approached, but like I've seen a lot of those advertisements, things like that. So do I think it's effective? I can't really say, as somebody who's been an American citizen and been just, exposed to that kind of media for most of their life. I mean, obviously we go out of our way to look at shocking stuff, but But having advertisements or things that are just like public awareness, I don't know. Now having it on YouTube or someone going out of their way to, put that out there, and then you maybe stumble across it and you're not necessarily wanting to see it. I don't know where I get that kind of connection. Like, I don't know if that's something you're supposed to, are you supposed to stumble upon it? Because like I said, if you live in one of those countries where it just comes on TV in a commercial,
it's very different. Yeah,
maybe you're more ready to see it and it's not as shocking or something. It's not like something that you're just like, oh, I'm not ready to see that, because you kind of expect it. You're like, oh, that's another one of those crazy commercials. And maybe that's not the population sizes are, all the demographics are different. Everything is different. So maybe it might not be as shocking, but I don't know. I don't have that experience, so I can't put myself in that place.
I will say that something in me doesn't sit well with the fact that it was a fundraiser and the patrons didn't really know what they were putting their money towards. So I think I would take it a little bit differently if it was, like you said, a PSA about drugs or warning about drunk driving or texting and driving. I feel like that would be received a bit better if it was just an agency or private or public and then just putting out a message versus a creator just not taking people's money, but in a way misusing the donation that he's getting to put something that's just so off-putting.
Yeah, I think that there's like people that live in bubbles that I think that using some real shocking things can kind of wake up to the reality of something. But at the same time, I know who you're talking about and how tone deaf it can come across, where it's not really, you know what I mean? I think that I think that I couldn't get past that, but I think that just kind of, I don't know. It depends on what it is, I guess, for me.
Yeah, that makes sense. That does make sense.
I remember when I was a kid, there were two commercials that were on TV, and this was in the 90s. One was like about a kid running around their house with a knife, and like either they accidentally stabbed their sibling or they fell and stabbed themselves. I can't remember, but it like implied something really bad. And the second one was it was a kid running into the street and a car hitting them, and like the shoe flies off and there's like a little bit of blood on and I was just like 6 or 7 years old, and I was like, well, that literally has stuck with me for life. Like those two commercials, I only had to see them and they deeply disturbed me. And I still like walk around with like a knife, like point, if I'm picking up a knife, I always point it down.
Yeah.
I don't mess around. And I definitely don't go running into the street. So it worked on me.
He hasn't worn white shoes since then.
Yeah. I have not, no.
Yeah. I can totally see that, to like, shock you enough to make you understand the consequences and the weight of what your action can do. I just can't reconcile that. And maybe it's just a bias from me, but his mockumentary, You Can't Hurt Me, seems very self-serving, as in, look what I did, just look at it really well, and I hope it shocks you, and I hope you like it because I did it and I made it, I just can't really reconcile that. And I would have rather had, like a very not romanticized, not even depiction, but just, a retelling of someone's story. I would have rather had that than just, I don't know, some sort of fictional movie with an advanced general intelligence experiencing trafficking NSA. I just feel like it's very, like you said, Seth, tone deaf and out of touch. So he's gotten a lot of backlash from that mockumentary, and he went quiet for a little bit after that. He'll just pop back up every couple of months or maybe a year after the fact. He's worked on a lot of, I feel like you could call them investigations. This is the kind of deep dive you would find on YouTube that will take 45 minutes plus, maybe an hour and a half, about a topic that's close to true crime. He talked about the Armchair Ikkyo cult. I may have butchered that, but I tried. So he talked about that cult for a video, I think, or for a few videos. And he will go on to say that his life is in danger because simply he came too close to the case, and he was just that close to either finding out someone or to just bring them to the authorities. And his life was in danger. So it's just been every now and then when he touches a case like that, I feel like it's a recurring theme of, look at everything that I've done. I'm such a hero. I've accomplished all of this, but at the same time, you still need to have my back if I need you. He will ask his audience again to provide him with security through subscribing to his Patreon and just giving donations so that he can be safe. And I don't know, it puts a sour taste in my mouth. Maybe at the time
like
it happened.
Artist.
Yes,
Really good one.
I agree. There's a lot of manipulation, and I totally agree with that. Maybe at the time it happened, it wasn't really clear. Like maybe there wasn't enough instances of him asking for money like that to raise the red flags. But I feel like looking back with hindsight, it's like, okay, clearly that's an MO. He also investigated so I'm not super familiar with the platform, but from what I gather, it's a virtual social space called IMVU, and he had a very in-depth deep dive about this platform. I believe he referred to it as a game as well, but I'm not sure if it has that gaming element. I think it's more of a social space online. And he will go on to expose a predator on this platform. I'm not going to say his name because I don't want to, that's irrelevant at this point of the story, but he will talk about a victim, an alleged victim that he will call KC, the initial KC. And he will talk about her as a teenage girl who, after being subject to abuse online and offline, she will take her own life, according to him. But as people are trying to digest this story that's quite heavy, he will go on to say in a later live stream that he doesn't feel comfortable about talking about Casey, and that all we had to know is that she was okay, from his words. So even the person, if you can catch the clip on YouTube, the person is like, oh my God, I totally thought that she died. And the only thing that Max says is that he's only comfortable saying that she's okay, which is such, why would you say that? Why would you make up a girl that was abused? And even if that was the case, why would you go on to say that she took her own life? That's so unnecessary. It doesn't bring anything to the story. If anything, it hurts his credibility and it hurts the victim as well. So unnecessary. I don't understand why he went to that length. Not even going as far as this particular point of the story, he explained in his deep dive that he used less than legal methods of tracking down KC. Some of them, to me at least, sound a little ridiculous. So here's how the story goes, or the investigation goes. He finds this girl, learn about her story, and she goes quiet. So he investigates further, him and his crew of hackers, and through looking for her profile picture, which he will just reverse image search her profile picture, just find a YouTube channel that's connected to possibly her profile. He will find a way to get an unlisted video that goes into further detail about her abuse and how and why she killed herself. That makes zero sense. How would that make sense?
That is psychotic.
Right? Like,
I mean, to me it is.
Surely I must be missing a key piece of the puzzle, because how you hacking into a YouTube channel, finding this video that someone has enlisted and then kill themselves over, and then going through this whole investigation only to say that the person is okay? That makes zero sense.
That's like an invasion of privacy.
Right? Yeah,
The victim is the only one that should
is.
matter in this situation, not someone's like ego and
Absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree. It's such like a hero complex, you know, and it's just jarring that at the time, sure, a few people raised some eyebrows when they learned that in fact the person Casey was okay, if she was even real. But again, looking back, it's like yet another thing that the story is not adding up at all. At all.
It sounds a lot like view exploitation, right? It's just about it's about views, and it's about generating whatever buzz that you can generate just so you get views. Now, I would say that talking about or trying to tell the story of someone else's self-harm is pretty low on the on the totem pole of scumbaggery and things that you can do. I know that my youngest child had one of her best friends commit suicide when she was, I think, 15. And I can't for the life of me understand why somebody would use that as a tool for views. Because it is such a deeply personal thing to the people that feel it, and especially to the family. Like everything that I've read about this person, the things that I've looked at, and the things that I've checked out, it seems like a fairly carefully crafted persona. Which, if you're somebody who's just trying to expose something or tell the truth about something, your persona is not the thing that you craft. It's this is just who you are. It's you know, Jimmy Joe Bob telling a story, and you're more out to get the facts than you are to try to put your own personal story forward. Yeah, I think if I were to encounter this person in real life, I think I'd just punch him in the fucking face a bunch of times and just be done with it. This is just somebody that just irritates me like nobody's business. And the more that I read about this, to be perfectly honest, it's just making me madder and madder. So I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop reading because I'm just getting pissed.
He has a very punchable face. I just had to look up one. I was like, wow, he looks very punchable.
That is true. He's such a character. It's just, like you said, it's so carefully crafted, his whole persona online, and he kind of molds his YouTube channel to the topic. We'll come back to that here in a minute, but I think personally that he's very talented as a video editor and as just a creator. I think he knows what he's doing, but I just wish that he didn't apply that to stories that he presents as real. If he were to only do ARGs, you know, just have fun on the internet, edit some creepy videos with some creepy music and just have fun, that would be perfectly fine. But putting or presenting real stories, but they're completely made up, that's just tasteless and it's wrong. I can't reconcile that at all.
So it's like Seth if he was a douchebag.
I wasn't the one to say it.
That was good.
Yeah.
Well, okay, Seth is not a douchebag though, so I think we're safe there. But you know, it's funny. It's funny that you say all this, because I know, like, we just had a big meeting on Capitol Hill of all of the head honchos of all the social media platforms, and our government looking to these people and saying there's a problem with what you're doing, right? And you know, I generally think social media is one of those things that if you use it, you use it. If you don't, you don't. One of the things I encountered probably in the last week, and this was just, we all do it. We mindlessly scroll sometimes. One of the things I thought was funny is that I'm mindlessly scrolling, and I scrolled upon something, and I couldn't figure out what was happening in this video. I couldn't figure it out at first. I felt like I maybe wasn't paying attention. It was a young lady trying to be cute and do the things that, you know, that 20-year-olds do. And then what I finally figured out is that she's dancing around and jumping around, and then at the end of the video, there's a light that lights her from behind, and you can see through her dress, and you can see things you probably shouldn't see.
Yeah.
And for me, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that in the things that I like, right? I don't want to see that in horror movies, podcasts, 3D printing, laser engraving, the things that I like to do, that's not what I want to see. But the thing that unnerved me is like, who else is that popping up for? Is that popping up for a 12-year-old kid somewhere? Like that's not appropriate, And there was no, hey, this might be
mature audience only or something.
Thank you, Lily. Exactly right. There was nothing like that. But the odd part was it took me a long time. I mean, and maybe I'm just too old and I'm not paying attention, but it took me a while to figure out what was going on. And so it's like, who is seeing that and figuring out instantly and then showing all their friends and then resharing it and just all this stuff happens. And pretty soon that's what we're seeing. And it's like, and because of the way the algorithms worked, I had to stare at it so long to figure out what's going on. Now every third thing that I scroll through is that.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh shit! I sandbag myself, and not even on purpose.
It's just polluting. Yeah, it's completely polluted your feed.
Yeah, and that's a great way to put that. It's polluted my feed. Now I don't get woodworking and 3D printing. Now I get people dancing around, and I don't even know what this stuff is. And it's like I have to just go no, and every 75th thing I look at is a guy making a really good box joint on a piece of wood. It's like shit.
Yeah.
Anyway,
you gotta savor those box joints and get them in your algorithm. Just keep clicking on those.
I'm trying, man. It's
remember to like and subscribe, drop a comment.
Well, but I think it goes to what we're talking about and how a person can craft a persona. They can lie through their teeth, talk about things that didn't actually happen. If it did happen, they can exploit the heck out of it and turn it into something that it wasn't. And especially, if I was a parent of somebody who did something like that and some influencer was using that to get views or something like that, oh my God, I would come unhinged. Absolutely unhinged.
And on the topic of the audience that's receiving that, it's putting even more of a gap and even more distrust into each other because he has weaponized his audience numerous times to just either go after the predator that's the subject of the video, or he's asked his audience to hunt or find evidence or find where they live, where they work, their family. He has doxed multiple people on his channel that are related directly or loosely related to the topic. So it's sad to weaponize your audience that way, and I really want to think that most of his audience would be on the younger side. I don't even know if they're minors or adult, but I would guess that they're in their teens if I had to put an uneducated yes, because it's truly a mob mentality of just going after someone, exposing as much of their docs as you can, and trying to get to the bottom of a story or a case that eventually is going to be harmed by this behavior. For a couple of stories that MamaMax has investigated, he hasn't been able to, or if he was able to bring it to police or the legal side, the case was so shot that the predators just went away with that. And it's just so sad because he could have just brought awareness and asked people to funnel all the tips to a helpline or, a task force dedicated to an investigation. But he would much rather kind of get the social credit, if I can use that, and just ask his audience to go after or to find information about the victims or about where the alleged predator is, and just trying to get some clout like that. It's unfortunate, and
that's a great term, Lily. Social credit. That's a great term. I've never heard it put quite like that, but it really puts a fine point on what we're talking about, getting this social credit. And as somebody who doesn't need that, it's not something I need to make my life, my heart, my brain, whatever, full. I think we live in a time and a place now where there's a lot of people to do, and that's just a great way to put that.
Yeah, there's like a lot of those videos where these guys will film themselves like giving money to like homeless people.
Yeah.
They'll like, I don't know, kind of like trick them in a way, but they still give them the money. I don't know, but it's like, why are you filming your good deed?
The
It's
do-gooders.
just
The
weird.
do-gooders. Yep.
Yeah, and it's like a hero complex.
Yeah, like the videos.
Mhm.
There's like an old lady that checks out with a whole bunch of groceries, and they like target someone that looks like they don't have much, and they're like, by the way, I'm just gonna pay for everything, and they start crying. Those videos, man.
Yeah. They're very
Well, I mean, the
disingenuous.
the first time you see one, it makes you feel good, right? And then by the time you see the thousandth person doing it, it's like, this is just to Lily's term. It's for social credit. Look at me, I'm a do-gooder, and it's like, no, you're not. If you went and worked at a soup kitchen 3 nights a week and never filmed it and just went there and then came home tired, then you're a do-gooder. Otherwise, just shut up. Yeah.
Yeah, it like completely what is, oh my gosh, kind of just like cancels out the act at that point, because you're not doing it for selfless reasons, you're doing it for a selfish reason.
And that's even based on the assumption that it's real. I can probably, I think I wouldn't be wrong if 3 out of 4 were just staged or, you know, by some form or another. So it's just
the thing that's happening.
bad.
Those people are turning on each other now. Like those videos are actually turning on each other. They're actually, I've now seen videos where it's people collaborating that do those same things, and it's like the guy calling out the other guy being like, that's an actor, that's staged, I thought we were doing this for real, like you staged this, like, you know, and they're like all up in arms, like it's I mean, you know,
Isn't it the same with animal saving videos as well?
Yeah, I was about to say animals, Ro. There's like this like bunch of channels of people, I think they're beans that they're like sticking to like kittens and puppies like skin. They're supposed to be like ticks, but there's some kind of bean, and there's just like they put them all over their face, and I'm just like, what are they doing to these? And I report them every time I see them, because I'm like, first of all, where are they finding all these animals covered like this in, like, first of all, they're not ticks, and I'm just like, but why make this video? What is this doing? It's gross. So I report them every time, because I'm like, they're just putting this animal through a lot of stress. And who knows the quality of their life off camera. And it's just gross. And it's just like how there's those YouTube families who are exploiting their children for views.
Oh my God.
There was a case of like this mom and son, and the mom, I think their dog had just passed away or something.
Oh my God, yes.
And she was like, now cry in the camera, cry, you know, keep crying, like for the thumbnail.
Yes.
And I'm just like, that is so disgusting. I'm not a parent, but that is just like foul behavior from a parent. That is,
I feel like I would be able to spot that woman in a room of 100. This image is still burnt in my head, where she's like, no, come closer, continue to cry, wait, okay, now look this way. It is just jarring. How could you do that? I don't think the kid was more than 10-year-old. So what?
And he was really upset, and I was just so disgusted by it. I don't like YouTube family. I do not like them, and I don't like
it. Is
I bet that woman was part of an MLM too.
Oh God!
I bet
oh my God! Don't get me started on MLMs, okay? We only have a couple hours here.
Ro is right. There's a channel that is somewhere in Southeast Asia, and it's a group of people that are purportedly going out and saving turtles. They're saving turtles from, barnacles and things like that. And somebody finally pointed out that in most of the videos, it's the same turtle that ends up, and they identified it by its shell and the markings on it, and they superimposed images, and it's like, so they're finding a turtle, they're gluing things to its back, plunking it in the water, and then going, oh, we found this turtle that needs help. And it's like, that
is so perverse. Why would you do that to that poor animal?
Well, but then we wonder why.
Like you said, Lily, social credit.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I
Lily-
guess we do know the answer to that.
Lily has coined a phrase, at least in my world. I've never heard the term social credit before, so we're giving that one. That one's all Lily.
I may have heard it somewhere.
I've never heard it, so all credit goes to you. But I think it's true. But then it also really explains, and forgive my crassness here, why so many people on this earth, just the people that you encounter in life, and I hate to say this, it seems particularly abundant in people that are of very affluent means, where the parents are oblivious and their kids are assholes, and it's like, because they've grown up on this, they already have the bank made, right? So they're trying to fill this other bank, and that's the social credit that Lily's talking about. And I mean, I go, if I'm at work and I go over to my local McDonald's for lunch, you should see, and I work in a fairly affluent part of town, you should see the kids that roll in there, kids that are coming from their high school and they're driving a Mercedes, and they've somehow piled 8 of their friends in the back of this thing, and they get out and they all have the latest flip-flops and the latest sweatpants fashion that's going on, which just drives me nuts. That's something for another day. But they are oblivious, and they walk through a crowd and just bump you out of the way because you're in their way, and they look at you like, what? And I just all right,
It's just completely, there's a disconnect there.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's definitely symptomatic, this performative kind of, act of goodness. MamaMax is not the only one labeling himself as a pedo hunter or a predator hunter, and it's such a shame, because there's a real opportunity here to warn part of your audience and just really show them what to look for, and to be a little bit more cognizant of who to talk to and what platform to maybe be a little bit more careful on. But it's truly a missed opportunity, and it's for the few creators that truly are trying to do good. One bad apple like this will just completely shoot their efforts to the ground. So it's kind of sad. So really the story that made the cookie crumble, so to speak, he posted a video in late October of last year, and it didn't do great on his channel. It was a trailer, by his admission. He described it as such, a trailer to introduce us to a story that he's been working on. You can't find the trailer anymore on his channel, but I have posted it in the Discord, and I also have it saved just in case that it's been taken down. It's a very interesting video. If you take it for what it is, it's definitely striking. It's well crafted, it's well made, but substance-wise, it's just lacking something. From the multiple creators that I've listened to while researching this, everybody kind of lands on the same thought, that he should have just cut this video at the 5-minute mark, where he's got a little bit of the story out, he's introduced a couple of the key characters, and he just have cut it there. He should have cut it there and just let us take this in, and maybe let the video live a little bit so that he can attract a different audience or have a bigger reach. But it didn't really do that. If you would like to watch the video in your free time, I'll just describe it briefly. It's a 10-minute something video. I can't remember what it's titled, but I can find out.
That's a long trailer.
Oh, there we go. Right? It's kind of a long trailer. I agree.
That's like a preview. That's not. I don't know. Like
It's
major
a highlight
preview.
reel.
Yeah, or that.
It's titled "Brainwash Your Favorite Influencers," and then there's like a trigger warning and blah blah blah. It's an interesting video. It's a little long, and I will say that the way that it's crafted doesn't really give it a lot of weight. It doesn't feel like a real story at all. It feels more like a game, like an ARG, which maybe that's what it should have been. During the first minute and a half, 2 minutes of the video, we're introduced to a couple prompts, questions that the screen is asking you. So for example, it would be, if God appeared before you and told you to sacrifice a child, would you do it? And I believe there's 3 answers: yes, no, and another one that's a little bit more ambiguous. And there's a few questions like that just kind of set the tone for the video, kind of question your moral or where you land on the pedo hunter moral compass, I suppose. And there's catchy music. It's well edited. It's an interesting, I was going to say fun, but it's not exactly fun. It makes you uncomfortable a little bit, but it's interesting. As someone who likes all of those, ARGs online, all the horror tapes kind of channel that have popped up this past couple years, I enjoyed the first few minutes. And then it just kind of brings you back to reality and introduces the case. You will hear about Spencer, which would be one of the main names that we'll hear about a few times here. Her name being Shelby Spencer Slayton. Apparently she reached out to Max to help her talk about her story. She went missing, at the age of 16 in 2016. And according to her story, she's been the victim of manipulation, SA, mental abuse, physical abuse, and it's just a really rough story. But we only get just a snippet. I want to say for maybe not even a minute, for just a brief moment, we get an introduction. We have the missing poster where you see her picture, and it's just very brief. And we move on to the alleged predator, which is another name that we'll hear a lot about, which is Camden Gerard Davis. I may just refer to him as Camden. It's just easier. According to the video, as we learn just a little bit more, there's a lot of text that flashes every frames or every few frames. So if you want to catch everything, you kind of have to pause, go back and forth with, your comma and your period to go frame by frame and kind of catch everything. And this individual, Camden, he is a man who has victimized, according to the video and according to MamaMax, hundreds upon hundreds children online. So abuse has been taking place online and offline, and just apparently this individual has just been a terrible cult leader. He's brainwashed Spencer and a few others. He also thinks that his cult is a supernatural one and that he is a god, part werewolf, part vampire. There's a lot of supernatural, I don't want to say BS, but that's what I think, so I'm just going to say BS. There's a lot of supernatural themes in his cult, and that's how we got Spencer to travel all the way to him. He just convinced her that she was special and she was part of the cult. She was a werewolf herself, so they just needed to boink, I guess.
Sounds like they've been playing too much Vampire the Masquerade. It's like a tabletop game. It's like D&D.
Or have been watching too much of Twilight.
Either that or somebody watched Twilight one too many times. I agree. Yeah. Just one too many times.
I love Twilight. I love it and I hate it. It's like one of my favorite things. It's the best thing ever. It's so bad. It's good.
For what it is,
I hate to watch it.
Just kick back and just make fun of everyone. It's great.
Exactly. You don't have to take it seriously. For what it is, it's not too bad.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yes. So as we continue on this trailer, we're just about at the 4-minute 30 mark at this point, and we just kind of switch the tone completely. There's a little bit of narration of voiceover from MamaMax, and he asks us to share this video around and to judge the content of the character, the influencers that you share the video with, based on what they do. So if they simply don't do anything, that'll mean something. If they share the video, that'll mean another thing. If they react to the video, if they help the story reach a greater audience, then it just means that they're morally superior and protecting our youth and participating into the pedo hunt, I guess. It's just very...
I'm sorry, Lily. I just wanted to ask you, is this the same video where he listed out a bunch of this big list YouTubers and said something on the lines of,
Yes.
if you don't do something, you hate children or something
Yes.
like that?
Precisely, yes. He will go through big names and more smaller channels, but still influential. He will call out PewDiePie. He will call out Joe Rogan. He will call out Mr. Beast with a
Mr. Beast.
customized, yes, Mr. Beast too, with a customized, with a personalized message. For example, the one that marked me the most is the one to PewDiePie, because I used to watch his content when I was a lot younger and a lot slimmer. Because what he asks from PewDiePie is, since he is a father, he should care a lot about what goes on the internet when it comes to children, and that he should talk about this story, and that he should present it to his audience, react to the video, to just help in the pursuit of Camden Gerard Davis. And I think that is so tone deaf. What even are you trying to say?
It's not
So just
PewDiePie's
because-
responsibility.
Right?
It's like kind of like
that's not even
a public
close.
blast is like coercion.
Yes, absolutely. And it's just not even close to the content that he usually makes. That just makes no sense that, on this one day, October 18th, okay, it's time to review MamaMax's video. We're just gonna do a little live stream, go through this 10-minute video. That makes no sense. He also will call out another creator, and I believe their music channel. I have to find their name in my notes here. The Needle Drop, I think, is the name of the channel. And from what I gather, it's more of a
Fantano.
musician. Mm-hmm. Do you know this creator?
Yeah, he's terrible, but that's beside the point.
Do they do true crime at all?
No,
that's the thing.
it's just album
That's what I
reviews.
gathered too. I think they're like a musician. They have nothing to do with this.
Yeah,
then
it's just snooty album reviews. Nothing ever.
That's basically what I saw, and I'm like,
Yeah. It sounds like MamaMax just wants free advertising from these big content creators, so they'll click on his channel. That there's nothing. This is all self-serving. There's no.
Absolutely. Yes.
He just knows this is like bleeding heart content. Like people are like really.
Yes.
Some people are really passionate. A lot of people probably know somebody who's been through something similar in their life, and it's just he's manipulating emotions is what it sounds like.
It's like those commercials that came on every now and then with that lady was like with all those shivering dogs, like the worst footage you could possibly see
In
of
the arms of an
shivering
angel?
sick dogs. Yeah And then won't you give $1?
ASCPA or something.
Yeah. I mean, I try to help animals anytime I can, but that it's just it's like shock jock like cause stuff. I don't know. It's the way they spin it. Ugh.
I propose that
trying to get our empathy in and trying to reach in our pockets at the same time.
Yep.
I propose that we all cut a promo where we're all shivering and cold.
Won't you
Please.
go to this podcast Patreon?
Please just
I
listen,
really
please.
need help.
Do you
Please
think?
You have to have
Just one
the Sarah
listen.
McLachlan song.
Yes, exactly. In the arms
of the angel.
Hey, whoa! We're gonna get content
Oh fuck!
tagged or whatever. We can't even hum it.
Strike this!
Oh.
We're like,
Just
welcome
kidding,
to
just
that
kidding.
4. I mean,
Yeah.
But it has to be more than 20 seconds, right?
Yeah,
So we're good.
apparently, I don't
Okay.
know.
Far
I think it's like 5 seconds now.
There you.
We're good, we're
I think we
good.
got it. We're good. Well, but I think that's the whole thing, though. And with something like, I'll be honest, with something like the ASPCA, I'm actually okay with just the legit heartstring tugging. I'm fairly okay with that. And as much as I don't really like Sarah McLachlan, I know that a lot of what she does is legitimate. It actually is legitimate. She does work for those causes. I know that she does do that. And I struggle with the term content creator, first of all, because most of what I see is not really even content. It's not even actually doing something. It's more somebody's reaction to a moment, and honestly, mostly a moment that's been manufactured anyway. So it's not even real. I go back to like the woodworking. When someone's doing woodworking, that's at least creation. They're doing something, and maybe they're doing it poorly. Maybe they're doing it not the way that I would do it. Maybe they only have 8 fingers now because they suck at it. But at least they're doing something that's reasonably original. Whereas something like this guy, it's not even real content. It's all it's taking advantage of a circumstance and trying to turn it into something that it isn't. And to what Lily said, using it to weaponize their audience, you know. And I hate that because, forgive me for saying so, young people right now, they are facing all the same struggles that I faced, that we all faced, that we were young, trying to find a place to fit in, figuring out who we are. The difference now is that they have 18 million different people trying to tell them what's what, you know, versus the 6 that I had, you know, and they were all people that I knew in real life, and some told me I was right, some told me I was wrong. So it's not surprising that people that are young these days struggle to fit in because they have so many different voices to listen to. But at the same time, it's like, well, you have to at some point screw your head on straight and try to focus and try to go a certain direction. And people like this guy, it's like, I keep coming back to the term, but it's just exploitation. That's all it is. It's just straight out exploitation. There's no other real genuine need or societal good that comes out of what he does. It's just exploitation and views. And I
totally agree. It's like if you remove all the layers, it's a transaction of, I portray myself doing good, you give me either a bigger audience, money, whatever it takes, but it is really a transaction. I totally agree with that.
Yeah, his good comes with a price. So, and like, if you really want to do good, you don't film it.
Yeah.
You don't exploit people. You just go to the proper authorities and, you know, say, hey, I've done just a little research of my own. Do what you will with this, but please look into this. Like, just go to somebody who can actually fix it. Sometimes I don't think when people sometimes it does help, but I think a lot of the times it does more damage than good. Like the Onision situation, which is a whole nother, like that was insane. And what's his face? How to Catch a Predator guy.
Chris Hansen.
Oh, Chris Hansen.
He was
trying to go ahead and hijack.
He was trying to hijack he was trying to sell the Onision story to like a major network. So like he didn't care of what this guy.
That was the weirdest combo.
It was super weird and
so odd.
And obviously To Catch a Predator. Sorry,
Chris Hansen. Yeah,
just his TV show. I mean, it probably did some good, but I still was exploitive. It was weird. It's kind of weird when you think about it, like watching these people. I don't know. It was just a weird show. Now that I think about it.
Yeah.
Like cool
and
getting
you know
them
what?
off the streets.
Let's go on another tangent before I go back to the story. The Predator poachers. They did the same thing with EDP 445. More than anything at first, it was performative. It was for the YouTube channel. They got the decoy, a woman to pretend to be, I believe it was a 14-year-old, but now I don't remember, but she was to be a minor, and she would catch EDP 445's wiener in a chat log, and then they confronted him. That's where we got the famous, I was just gonna get a cupcake scene. But all of that just really destroyed the legal. I know just a little bit too much about those people. Let me tell you something. But yeah, that
we know too
completely
much about.
destroyed the legal side of things, you know, and it just took a lot more legwork from the police, from actual investigators to get some kind of repercussion.
Well, but that's,
Yeah,
I mean,
people
that's
share too much.
kind of the moral of the whole thing, right? Like you can take one thing and you can take it too far, even if you think you're doing good.
Yeah.
But I think it's kind of the big thing now. It's like when you see these things, what's real and what's not. And I'll give an example. I'm not gonna name the channel because I'm pretty sure the guy's in jail now.
Oh shit.
But I got into this. I'm a car guy, so I got into this thing, and it was a guy who did repos for a living. Supposedly did repos for a living, and he was super gifted at it. And he'd go and he'd swoop into a neighborhood, and before you even knew what was happening, he'd grab your car and he'd repo it for the bank. Well, it turns out he wasn't repo man. He bought a tow truck that had the grab bars in the back, and he was stealing cars, and he was posing himself as a repo man.
The balls that man had.
And then he finally,
What?
well, and then he finally got caught because somebody came out of their house and shot at him a whole bunch of times, and his car or his big tow truck thing ended up getting disabled like 3 blocks away, and a bunch of people drug him out of the car and like, who do you work for? And he's like, and he used the term, I'm a content creator. And it's like, okay, so but so that's the hard part. Yeah, that's the hard part about the internet and what we see, what's real and what's not, who's actually telling the truth and who's not. And it's like, I'm kind of to the point now where there's 2 things I believe. I believe surveillance cameras and I believe police body cameras. Anything else I figure is bullshit. Just complete bullshit. And even those other 2 are probably edited for time and content. Yeah. You know what I mean? So.
Oh yeah, that reminds me of that contractor that got semi-famous recently that was destroying that bathroom tile. He went into this lady's house and just started destroying her tile because she wouldn't pay or whatever. And the whole internet backed him initially, and then she started like sending photos and revealing her case. The dude did a terrible job and cut all kinds of corners, and she was wanting things fixed before it was paid. It wasn't even the way he said it. It was crazy. The guy wound up on the news, and then later there was a they issued a warrant for his arrest, and then they showed him and his partner's rap sheet, which was pretty extensive. But like everybody fell in love with the guy on the first go. They were like, yeah,
pretty compelling story.
Destroy that bathroom.
It's just like people share way too much online. That needs to stop. That there's just like so much, like not everything just needs to be shared online. Like most things don't need to be shared.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's just my opinion.
I'm going to say it now. I'm going to start a GoFundMe so Meg can have her own microphone. I'm just going to say.
Yeah.
Hey, look, we talked about this before the thing, and I have to get another XLR cable and a stand. It's happening. It's happening.
Okay, well.
All I'm hearing is excuses.
Yep, exactly. Trot on down to Radio Shack there, buddy, and you'll be all set.
He's got a radio. Is there a Radio Shack still?
Right.
I think there's a couple left. I think there honestly are a couple left.
Oh my gosh.
I've seen one in a mall. Wasn't there one at Opry?
There was one in Rivergate.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that is actually insane. If there's actually only like 2 or 3 left, and you actually have one in your city.
No, there used to be one in Rivergate. I used to go there and get. They had these like these kits you could make, like circuit boards and like all the transistors and stuff, and you could like get blueprints for whatever and make a weird little radio. I used to get those parts.
I've passed one in a small town outside of Chattanooga where it was weird, and I was just like, why is there just a random Radio Shack here? It's just like a rundown town, and it's just a random Radio Shack.
It's a total side note, but like, I mean, somebody could just buy up the name.
Ooh. Are you
Why-
suggesting us as a podcast?
I was gonna
Sponsored by radio.
say.
Well,
Yeah.
we could buy the name just so we could say we're sponsored by radio.
Yay!
That would be
Absolutely, yay!
That's our GoFundMe. Get us enough money so we can buy the Radio Shack IP. Oh, that's so great. Either that or Circuit City. Which one would be easier? Circuit City?
I don't know.
Circuit City is defunct. Radio Shack has at least got some clout. I mean, like we
True.
all,
Yeah.
you know,
And also, it makes more sense to have Radio Shack because it seems more like you're on the airwaves, like you're podcasting.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Radio Shack.
I'm
Like,
still
hey,
gonna
we're the-
I'm gonna put a Circuit City logo and say sponsored by Circuit City. I'm still gonna do it.
I mean, go ahead and put EB Games and KB Toys.
Yeah.
They have a
Let's
parent
get them all. Get them all on board.
Is Toys R Us completely gone?
no, it's back
they
now.
are
It's back.
coming back. Yeah, they're coming
What?
back.
They tore
They've been
down
resurrected.
mine. The place where I got my first Game Boy Pocket. I went and I filmed it being destroyed. I was sad.
Oh, so you're a content creator? That's what I'm hearing. Right?
Apparently,
Uh-oh.
apparently,
Hold on now.
content. I just don't like the word content because it seems like the lowest common denominator for
Yeah.
creating anything. I make
Yeah.
content. What do you do? I make content.
Yeah, it's like you made
Sound like
you made
YouTuber.
soup. Yeah, you made
I
soup.
did stuff.
How'd you
I do
make soup?
stuff.
I opened the
cook-
can. That's
I
how I
cook
open.
salmon. So I made content.
Exactly
Somebody
right.
ingested-
Exactly right.
Somebody ingested the food I made. That's content, right?
I love to watch some cooking videos. I also love to watch people just do their day-to-day routine, and that's content. I'm just like, wow, what is wrong with me for consuming this content? I should be doing my own day-to-day thing.
More of a
But
that's more of a
I'd love it.
personal thing you got to figure out because
Yeah.
every day you have your own content. Maybe just enjoy that more.
I have a coworker who is obsessed with vacuum cleaners. It's like ASMR for her. So she knows a vacuum when she hears it. Like she knows the exact type, like brand and everything of vacuum. And she would just like pull up YouTube on a work computer and just listen to vacuum cleaners all day. Or actually, no, she would just pull it up on her phone. What am I saying?
Hey, I will say they helped me buy my Dyson. I was watching all these videos of them, like the flour test or the rice test, and they would do them side by side. I was like, I'm gonna do that one.
Yeah, but it was just like normal, like just somebody vacuuming. Like that was not a review on a vacuum cleaner, just like somebody just vacuuming up a really dirty room. And I was just like, what?
Well,
And
that's
she would just all day, 8+ hours.
That's just okay. I mean, let's call it what it is. To most of us, that's just weird as hell. But at the same time, it's like I'm down here right now. My 3D printer is running, and the sound is very soothing to me. So you know what? Nobody else gets to be any weirder than anybody else. But at the same time, I'm not going to go out of my way to put a label on it because I just don't have the time. I have other things to do.
Yeah, I will say when we were watching Fish Tank, Airsoft Fatty, just listening to him in the bathroom, not going to the bathroom, just like
we were watching.
he was taking a shower, and it was just very relaxing to listen to. I was like, why is this so?
Oh, I thought
Just
you
him,
were
like grunting every now and then.
fish. I
I'm
thought you
not
meant
gonna
fish
lie.
tank
You
the
started
movie.
to say he was taking a and I was like,
No.
hold up there.
Not that. That's not cozy.
He was, and one of his best one-liners came after that. It was
I
so
wish I
great.
could remember. We gotta find the
It
clip.
was something like, "Oh lordy."
Yeah,
It was so good. It was like it was just it was perfect timing and everything. And he's alone upstairs. It was
Yeah.
great.
Oh my god. Okay. Oh yeah. Oh lordy. Exactly. Oh lordy.
Oh Lord.
So Lily, get us back on the highway here
Yes.
because we are on a dirt
Let's
road
circle
in the middle of Tennessee, and there's about to be some locals here and go, "Oh, you got a pretty mouth." So let's get back on the highway.
That's my state, not their state. Let's just correct
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Oh, true.
We
You
pretty
give
cool down
the
here.
inbred,
I'm not gonna.
Yeah,
I'm
we're
not
pretty
gonna.
the inbred
good.
rapist. Yeah.
I'm not gonna merge their state with my state's problems.
we have Dolly Parton.
Hey, I live in Minnesota. Anything south of
Yeah,
Iowa, I
probably
pretty
you
much
have
figure
those
everyone's
problems.
cousin on cousin there, so it's fine. Don't worry about it. It's okay.
Alrighty, circling back to the story, here's where we left off. I was introducing this weird werewolf vampire cult and this strange character that, after all, we don't really know much about. Camden Gerard Davis sometimes goes by Camden Damon. Otherwise, there isn't really any trace of this person online. There's just a couple of videos floating around. Just a guy roaring with some vampire fang, just very cute stuff, I guess. But all in all, this person doesn't really have a lot of a footprint. He doesn't really have much of a footprint online, which is interesting. I feel like if we Googled any of our names right now, we would find way too much. Way too much.
What was his name again? Camden?
I'm going to try that because I'm curious.
Camden Gerard Davis. A lot of letters.
Oh.
Most of what will pop up will probably related to MamaMax. But otherwise, there's a couple of clips. There's a couple of pictures. One in particular, he's wearing like kind of a skull mask, very supernatural, spooky vibes. He thinks he's like a god, and he's at the head of this cult. He will, according to Spencer, the victim, be very physically, mentally, sexually abusive towards her. He will induce, is that the word? I think so. Induce at least 3 to 4, sometimes she will say 5 miscarriages by just beating the crap out of her, feeding her oranges, cinnamon, vitamin D's, and just kind of a potion that he concocts to have her interrupt the pregnancies. From what she says, he said, it was to accustom her body to being trafficked in the future. So he was inflicting this abuse on her to just train her body to reject any pregnancy, which is so awful. It's, oh my God.
God.
Jesus
Wow.
Christ.
I don't have the words for that one.
Right?
Training someone's body to reject a pregnancy through physical and chemical torture.
It's interesting.
How about just this is just me being the oblivious Stone Age caveman that I am. How about just use a condom? Wouldn't that be simpler?
The woman. How about that?
Well, I know, but
It's
yeah, I don't.
very interesting, this claim, and I don't want to 100% say that this is made up, because I still want to hold the glimmer of hope that she's an actual victim, not trying to harm other victims by lying. But this is such, I can't really wrap my head around. And I know there's very bad people in the world. There's a lot of us, so there has to be some that are very bad. But holy macaroni, that's bad.
Well, I think, yeah, I think there's a lot of bad people, and I think there are way more good people. At the same time, I think a lot of good people tend to stay silent or just kind of turn the other cheek and not pay attention to what's going on. And I'm going to say that by virtue of that makes a lot of us bad. Yeah. If you see a situation and do nothing, I think you are maybe not quite as culpable as, say, a sex trafficker, but when you stay silent and don't get involved, I think you end up on the culpability scale. I think you do.
Yeah, I can understand that. Even just morally, to just, it's tough. And if you take her story at face value, right? She's been hidden by this man in his home, in his mother's home that he's living in with Spencer, hiding her, barely feeding her. She's eating every few days, every 4 days, and he's abusing her multiple ways, very cruel ways. If this story is true, it is just incredible that nobody saw anything to put a stop to it. It is, wow. It's very sad.
Yeah, where is this guy's mom?
That's where the doubt comes into play, because according to Spencer, when she describes the layout of the house she was hidden in, right? It's a 1-story house with 2 beds, 1 bath. She is she's not like a child. She's not small. She's just a little, she's built, she's a little round. She's like me, she's kind of pudgy. So how do you hide a grown woman in a 1-story house with at most, 6 rooms? How? I can't wrap my head around that. And that's where I'm now doubts, red flags, because and this is like in the span of years that this is happening.
She's lying as well? Or
I don't want to say that out loud because I want to believe her as a victim, but I have doubts about her story. I don't think she's a reliable narrator if the story is true. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Because there's
mentally
unless the mother is bedbound and that she doesn't have all her faculties, or maybe she has some sort of degenerative disease that maybe she doesn't remember, she doesn't comprehend, maybe she can't understand the situation, okay. But otherwise, how would you hide a woman? Because I hope she screamed, and I hope that she was trying to escape. I hope. So I just cannot kind of parse her story. To me, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't have to make sense. She's a victim, as far as I'm concerned. I'm puzzled.
Yeah,
I'm confused.
These kind of stories, if she's really, I don't want to doubt a victim either, but there's so many people that have cried like wolf, essentially, for not like just online, not everyone. Like a lot of people don't do that, but like it hurts the real victims, and
agree.
It's just not okay, because it like makes it harder for people to believe real everyday people that are going through this stuff, because they're just seeing this kind of insanity play out, and they're just like, wait, this was all fake, or this was all bullshit. She's a liar. And it's like, well, what about that person? Is she lying? It's just not good.
And on the flip
and it makes me angry for people I know who have been through stuff, and it's just not cool.
Exactly. And on the flip side, if you yourself are a victim right now or in the past, you're going to be like, well, if I come forward, are they going to believe me? Am I going to have any help? Am I going to be credible? Can I bring my story forth without being ridiculed? It's just doing so much harm on so many level. It is disheartening, honestly.
Yeah, it's like blocking the whole thing, in my opinion, and making it just a form of entertainment. That's what he's doing, clearly. And he's trying to profit from other people's pain, which a lot of people do. It happens every day. Sometimes when we purchase things, there's someone suffering because of our purchases, essentially, to keep a product on the shelf or whatever. But it's just like, man, I don't know. This is messed up.
Well, no, you're both right. So victimhood, and I'm not downplaying here, so don't think that, but victimhood in a sense has become almost a profession. Okay. There are people that are professional victims. Now, this is not to say that there are not people that have gone through things and need help. And the person that I am, I would default always to protect the victim, get them behind me, see what's what.
Yeah.
I would always do that. But I think oftentimes that's where the story ends. And if more things come to light, we often don't hear about those. So we don't often hear what is the truth. We hear the sensationalized story, but then we don't hear what's actually the truth. And I think that's the scariest part for me, because all things being equal, I'm a Midwest guy, I'm conservative, I'm kind of a dick, I know exactly who I am, and I'm completely fine with it. At the same time, I am very empathetic, and I'm going to defend anybody that cannot defend themselves to my death. That's what I'm going to do. For me, I just want to make sure that it's because of something that actually happened, not because of something somebody created. You know, an artificial situation that is not actually legitimate. And that's the thing that I kind of fear the most these days is I'm gonna stand up because it's just who I am. I can't help it. But I don't want to stand up for something that would come to find out that it's false later.
Agreed. And really the unraveling is the word I'm looking for of the lie really kind of took a lot of steam, gained a lot of steam this past month, this past few weeks. People have really started to question and to just verify that we would have the evidence to, if we were to bring this case to the police, which in my opinion should be the first step that we do, is just reach out to the authorities one way or the other, because you're probably knowing this as well, but this is across state lines. She traveled to this guy. So now this is a big crime. And this person, if he's doing this to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of children, according to MamaMax and Spencer, we can't just keep that happening. So the first step should be going to the authorities. That's why the internet sleuth kind of started to really dissect what we know, what we don't know, and really where we are with this Camden Gerard Davis character that hasn't come forward. There isn't really a footprint online. So we're trying to assess, okay, what the fuck is this story about now? Now, it's been found that Spencer and MamaMax are currently living together. Okay, that's the thing that happened. A little weird, but you gotta do what you gotta do. They are also high school friends. So that's just another layer of, okay, they've known each other for quite some time now. Okay. MamaMax has been very open and saying that this trailer on his channel, but most of the story will be on her channel as well. She needs a platform to speak on. She has a channel, I believe it's called Auntie Spencer. She has a channel and she started a podcast. During the first episode of the podcast, which is, I believe, 4+ hours of content, she goes through her stories, I believe just a couple times, and then she will bring other testimonies, and they will read what other alleged victims have gone through. And that's great. They're okay, we have testimonies, but we don't really have evidence. We don't really have proof. We hardly know where this guy is currently. MamaMax's audience has been able to find out his mom's names, his brother's names. They will go on ahead and dox those people. And at this point, they don't know that. Do they have anything to do with this story? Are they just completely unaware? So we're just doxing people now, okay? And it's just, it feels very amateurish. We're just kind of grasping at whatever is coming, trying to build this story. And it's just not feeling great. In the past few weeks, MamaMax has also reached out to creators on Discord, just personally sending messages on top of the trailer, just asking the audience to share the video. And at first, it was just kind of the same message, but it devolved into, you're going to have to talk about this story because it shows the content of your character, and clearly you don't care about keeping the children safe. Will somebody please think of the children? He will target a few video creators on YouTube in particular. Moist Critical, pretty famous guy on YouTube, pretty opinionated, but he's on the compass of morality on YouTube. He's pretty respected. Same goes for the ordinary gamer, Mudahar, which is also pretty respected on YouTube for being grounded, down to earth, kind of exploring all the avenues and examining the evidence. While most critical didn't really give the time of day to MamaMax, Mudahar actually gave him, time to show the evidence and to really just present what he has in his investigation. That did not go very well. He just doesn't have much of anything. To see this evidence, Mudahar had to sign an NDA, which wasn't drafted by a lawyer at all. And really all the creator had to do was date, name, sign, and you're in.
Well, okay. So evidence. Let's talk about evidence for a second. So what is evidence? Evidence, to me, is a police report, a federal indictment,
Yes.
court documents,
Medical examination.
Correct. Okay,
Yeah.
so interesting that you said that. So if we're talking about minors being sex trafficked, first of all, medical examinations are protected under HIPAA, so those would not be public record. If it's somebody who is a minor, those would also not be public record because they're a minor. So what I'm thinking here is that this person is exploiting a small but well-defined loophole where you can't talk about medical things because it's against the law. If somebody's a minor, you can't talk about it because they're a minor, and those records are either sealed or they're so redacted or protected that you can't get any actual information out of it anyway. So you're talking about somebody who is engineered something where they're working off of a premise where it's like, yes, I have proof, but you have to sign your life away saying that you are not going to share the proof when there's actually no real proof anyway. So the NDA that you're signing is basically saying you didn't see anything anyway. That's what it's saying.
Exactly.
Crafty. Very, very crafty.
It's very interesting as a method, isn't it? And if we go back on the crossing state line little nugget, she took an Uber. She took the bus to go there, I think. I think she first took a bus and then an Uber, or the opposite. Does she have receipts for those? She supposedly had multiple accounts on Kick. She was made to lure more victims as well. She hasn't presented any proof of that. I don't want to say that she is lying about having miscarriages, but I don't know much about medical stuff, right? But it has consequences on a woman's body to have a miscarriage, and you have to be checked by a doctor even after one miscarriage to just make sure that your body has evacuated everything it needs to evacuate. Otherwise, it's infection, it's bad, and you could die. She wasn't able to prove any of that for none of the first, second, third, fourth, or fifth miscarriage. That's something that she should be able to do even after being out of this cold, to just go and see a doctor. And even just bruises, we don't see anything like that. I'll glaze over this because really it doesn't mean anything, but I will still bring it up. She is still a very plump woman, so she doesn't look like she's been forced to, I was going to say forced too fast, but it doesn't look like she's been starved in particular. As a chunky woman myself, I would assume that she would have lost a little bit. I feel like there's just so much of nothing that it's alarming. It really, really is. It's hard to me. It's hard for me to just give her the benefit of the doubt because there's just so much that does not add up in her favor. The fact that currently she's living with MamaMax and they're allegedly in a relationship. The fact that MamaMax has a past of creating stories that revolve around SA and revolve around trafficking. It just seems interesting to me that now he has a story that fits his narrative, and has victims to just corroborate this story about this weird character that nobody has heard of, Camden Gerard Davis, you're going to tell me that if your name somehow pops up online for the past 4 or 5 weeks, that you're not going to come forward with any kind of statement, with any kind of, even just to serve MamaMax, or just to ask him to cease this defamation. You're going to tell me you're not going to do that? That's very interesting to me.
This just goes back to, there are some things that just shouldn't be shared online until there's like someone's proven guilty, arrested, justice has been served. Then you can share your story. That's like, that happened. That's been around like forever, where like victims will share their story, on TV or going around to, different talks and whatever. And it's because their predator has been served justice in some way. And there's been proof and like evidence is shown, and professionals are handling, not some random YouTuber. And I know like there are people out there that may have good intentions when they're like doing investigations and like, whatever, obviously not this guy. But again, it should be left up to people who can actually do something about it. And I know those people don't always do the thing that they're supposed to do. I know that there's people that fall between the cracks. So I don't know what the right answer is there, but like just talking about it like online, it's just creating like a crowd with like pitchforks to go after like a random person who may or may not be guilty. And it's just
and
gross.
like I said, they have dogs, people. Why would you do that when you don't have even the beginning of a story?
This reminds me of another YouTuber. Oh my gosh, they were an art person, something art. I can't remember. And they like were big on lolcow, and there was just like a whole
Creepshow
messy
art?
situation. Was it Creepshow? Yes, Creepshow art. Yeah, that it kind of reminds me of that in some way. That's a hot mess. I don't even want to touch that, but just
that could be an episode by itself.
Yeah, that stuff is insane. She's crazy. Everybody involved, it's just like weird personal drama that just should not be on the internet at all.
Agreed. And I wish it was petty stuff. I really wish it was. But bringing a story that is mostly true or false about 14, 13, 12-year-olds being trafficked and abused, starved, it's just so horrible. I really don't want to think that this is rooted in fiction, but it's very hard as the days go by to believe that. Today, a phone call was leaked between a few creators and MamaMax, where he's trying to defend his case and really kind of bring forth what he has on the evidence side. There isn't much of anything. He doesn't really have a grasp on what's going on. There's a fundraiser supposedly to help them bring the case to the police. This should have been done day one.
They're pocketing
This shouldn't
that cash.
be. I don't want to say that, but
allegedly,
surprise me either.
Allegedly, they are probably allegedly pocketing cash.
Yeah.
Well, but what does that tell you about the people that we're talking about? It's like, if you think about what we're doing right now is we're talking about something that we were not personally involved in, that we have admittedly a fairly limited knowledge base on. But what are we trying to accomplish? Okay. I think Clark said it earlier. Welcome to That's Effing Poor. Nobody here is making any money. Okay. We're not raking in the dollars trying to expose somebody. We're talking about it because we don't understand it. Right. That's what we're doing. There's some obvious facts that sort of point the needle in one direction, right? Because we're all thinking people. There's some obvious things where it's like, well, you know. But I think that's the thing that people don't do anymore, and I think people like this person rely on that. People not to think, they rely on people to react, you know, and that's the weaponization that Lily talked about earlier. That's what they're relying on. People are gonna get up their pitchforks, like Meg said, get the pitchforks, and they're gonna be like, let's just burn down the castle. And it's like, well, what if the castle's historic and the guy that lives there is actually pretty nice and he tutors children and gives out whole candy bars at Halloween, but we have no idea, you know?
Yeah, there was this I mean, it can really ruin people's lives. There's a couple instances just like cancel culture of like situations kind of like this where they accuse somebody of being like a abuser of some sort and they're really not. There was
I am so glad you're bringing this up.
There's two I can think of. The major one, which he did turn out to be like not so great, James Charles back in 2019 when Jeffree Star and that whatever her face is, the lady
Patty
who does make
Westbrook.
Yeah, so Tati, she which she should know better because she's probably 40 now. You think they would know better, but they don't. Just, you know, all these accusations of then at that point for James, and it turned out he was at that moment at least pretty innocent at that point in time. And then obviously it just I was like, man, why'd you have to do that? Like, we all hated you, and then we were like, oh man, he's not bad, and that was like, oh man, he's actually bad. I don't care. Like, I didn't care about his content. I was just like, this is all stupid. And just if there is something crazy going on, the police should be involved. That's all I'm going to say. And then there's also this man. He was an older man. His Twitch channel was RS Glory and Gold. He was a RuneScape player. And he was in the 60s. He's passed away, and Keemstar got him and this other guy mixed up because there was somebody who was an actual predator with like the same name. Yeah. Totally different guy. And he went after this random old man streamer who's just this innocent, pure man who just chain smoking on camera and just playing RuneScape, man. And he was just vibing, and they were just all these people that came to his stream and just were like calling him all these things and just like accusing him of this awful thing that he didn't do. And it just like, you know, that was just a normal guy that was just, you know, he had a very small following, I think, or at least it was, you know, smaller than Keemstar's. And it's just like, I don't know about this vampire man situation, whatever.
I hope he at least got some more subscribers.
He did. I watched RS Glory and Gold. He passed away, I think, last year, and it was really sad. I was really, really sad because he was fun to listen to. I'm not like, I played a little bit of RuneScape, but it was just like cozy. I was like, oh man, he's like grandpa just playing RuneScape. It's great. And he's just coughing every now and then. I'm like, give me that smoker's lung. But yeah, it just sucked. And I'm just like, but there's probably just always been this kind of like town square bullshit, I guess, that's happened, and just stirring up trouble. There's like con artists, and they just find different ways to con people through the ages, I guess. I just feel like this is a con for sure.
Yeah. Well, it's sad. Yeah. It's sad as hell that one person would go to these lengths to build their subscribership or to do whatever else and ruin somebody else's life. And then the people that are in between, the listeners, the subscribers or whatever else, don't bother to do any sort of actual research and actually get and understand the subject before they, to Meg's point, get out their pitchforks. You know? Yeah. But that's where we are now. I mean, okay, and if someone's accused of something once, okay, do the research. If they're accused of something twice, start to think. By the third, fourth, fifth time, it's like, okay, there's a pattern here, and that's fine. But we never seem to apply that same pattern in reverse to the people that are showing us these things, you know? And that's it's like true. The person that finds these patterns 5, 6, 8, 10, 12 times, and it's like, okay, so either you're doing this yourself or you're just completely full of shit. And I don't think people bother to ever apply that sort of logic to what they're seeing.
Also, speaking of con, I mean, he must have had such an influence on minors, right? Because he started off creating these videos that were appealing to these edgy teens or minors, and eventually took a he was creating this a sort of anti pedo Avengers kind of a group within his building a group with his followers, and most of them, from what I understand, were minors and teens. So as a teenager, as a keyboard warrior, I'm sure they must have felt this, this sense of justice that they have to do things. And I for one cannot imagine being a minor who's going through something like that, and you see his videos and you see a ray of hope, and then he says, I have proofs, and probably in your mind you're like, maybe if I allow this to happen to myself, I can have those proofs to give it to him so that he can expose my abuser. And eventually it comes to light that he is a fraud. He's been profiting off victims. He's lying. I think it's honestly heartbreaking to think the impact he might have had on those children.
Yeah,
I agree.
If you want to help a victim, help, be their support and help them like go report it to like the authorities, like be their support, be a shoulder that they can cry on, like just be there for them and like help them find the proper channels to report their abuse, and get something done, like actually fix it, because they're just like talking about it and just like making this huge like show of it, but it sounds like nothing. I mean, obviously this just sounds fake to me. It just sounds not real, but this particular thing, but if there is like a real situation, like there doesn't need to be a show of it. There doesn't need to be like talking about it to like millions of random keyboard warriors or whatever. You just help the person. And then like if that person wants to share their story, they can go share their story, and you can support them by saying like, hey, I think this is like, I think there's a good way, there's a better way to like get that message out there than like this shock value kind of like, just be like, hey, this person really wants to share their story. I've invited them to my channel to share their story. Let's be respectful, blah, blah. Just there's a better way. And like, or just like link to their channel if they have their own channel, or, if they want to talk about it. I don't know. It's just like some people, everybody heals differently. Some people like to talk about it. Some people don't. But yeah, I don't know. It's just, this is weird. This guy's annoying. I want to punch him in the face.
It is very weird. And one of the latest development today, actually, if we backtrack just a little bit, a couple of years ago now, in July 2022, a creator on YouTube that goes by the moniker Magnetar, he tried to quote unquote expose MamaMax. He crafted an expose. He reached out to Max's exes, and apparently Max allegedly has a history of just being very manipulative, something that transpired into his past relationships, and just Magnetar was trying to just show his audience and maybe convince Max's audience that there's more to him than what he portrays on camera in his videos. And MamaMax made a video response at the time, and it was just very defensive, in my opinion. It wasn't like a intelligible response. It was more like, no. And he ended up calling Magnetar a pedophile, which isn't.
People love to toss that around.
Exactly. It's like, you can't just really throw that around lightly. We're not 12 anymore. And MamaMax's proof at the time of the video was screenshots, chat log that Magnetar supposedly had with an underage girl. And he sent a D-pic. So if you take that at face value, doesn't look great. Today, Magnetar decided to start legal action against Max for defamation because he called him a pedophile while he supposedly he's not. And it's just yet another symptom of MamaMax's megalomania, in my opinion. He is just going to make those stories as big as he can, and just, he used a word in one of the live streams lately. He used unignorable. That's what he does with the stories. He makes them unignorable, memorable. But I think he does a disservice to those stories. And it seems like that's going to come and bite him in the ass now that he's in the process of being sued. I don't think he's been served just yet. A GoFundMe has been created, but there's only so many stories you can bullshit through before it kind of, some sort of retribution is going to come at some point, whether it is being deplatformed or legal procedures or what have you. But there's only so much he's going to be able to lie through or make up. So we're just going to have to see. There'll probably be more updates to this story. Right before we started recording today, I was listening to almost 8-hour live stream from one of the creators that have been really on top of this situation. And I just heard MamaMax and Spencer trying to talk their way through the story that they've crafted through Spencer's story. It seems very shaky in my very uninformed opinion, but I don't think they're going to be able to hold that kind of, story for much longer. I'm really interested to see where this goes, to be honest with you. It's going to be interesting in the next few
Yeah, wow.
For sure.
This reminds me of Boy in a Band a little bit. Some of the stuff.
Yeah.
Why are people so weird? Like, they're just so weird.
For real though, and on top of that,
he just disappeared. He didn't try to stick up for himself, as far as I'm aware. And this is all alleged.
Yeah.
Obviously. But
I think he completely stopped his channel, didn't he?
Yeah. And he's friends with a lot of people that I would watch, and I don't think that it's their fault. Somebody's really good at lying about something, if that's true. Obviously, I don't know. Anytime I see this stuff, anytime that there's YouTuber drama or weird public figure being accused of something and there's no proof shown to me yet, I'm just well, I'm just gonna wait before I cast any kind of judgment. And and if it turns out they're a piece of shit, I just don't even put my energy into them, because it's just people put too much energy into
and that's super valid, Meg. At the same time, though, for every one of you who wants to wait and see and get some information, there's 100,000 morons out there who just go, light the torches, let's burn the city. But that's our society now. People don't bother with getting actual information. And to be perfectly honest, I don't think there's a lot of common sense being used either. Actually assessing a situation and going, well, let's see. This person told me someone else's story from someone else's perspective and expects me to believe it, where person B has police reports, depositions, etc., etc., etc. And it's who's more believable? It doesn't seem like anybody cares anymore. It's just all about getting that reactionary thing. And it's not something that I just don't understand it anymore. And we talked about it earlier. So much of what is content creation now is manufactured. So it's what's actually believable? And I honestly think that only common sense, I think, is the only divider between what is reasonable and what's not. But I also don't think our populace now has a ton of common sense. So I think we just react because we can't believe it.
Going so fast,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and there's going to be outcry, and people have to react. And if we don't react, we're not in on the latest thing, so we feel left out. And it's
or you're made to feel bad for not caring about. And it's just our brains are not meant to absorb all of this. Like everybody's million, hundreds of thousands, millions of people, whatever. Just a lot of people's like opinions, and like it's just too much. And you start to like, I know I had to like just stop reading so much stuff online, and just like just kind of distance myself just from certain things. I don't want to say social media detox, because that's not even what it was. Just like using less of certain apps, and just like if I see something, I just disengage. I just don't even. I just, because I just can't. My like day-to-day life is complicated enough. Most people's are. Like, I don't need someone else's stuff just stressing me out. So I'm just like, nope. Because I'm empathetic too, and it really got to me over the last 3 years, and it was really hard. Just multiple different things, and I was like, I'm so tired of everybody just being insane, just on everything. I just want to watch. I just want to watch Airsoft Fatty take a shower and take a shit. That's all I want.
Well, I mean, that's really
the kind of content I want.
But that's really what it boils down to, though. And when you see, okay, I mean, I'm going to say this, and it's going to be unpopular, especially because we're a podcast that likes to use our social media. But social media is effectively poison. It's not good for anybody. It honestly isn't. And it's not good in the sense that it shows you things that aren't true. It shows you things you can't do. It shows you things you will never do. And it shows people doing things that you probably shouldn't do. And so when you take all of that in, what does that do? It takes your life, and it takes the bubble that is our lives, and it makes it progressively smaller and smaller and smaller. And then as that bubble gets smaller, you reach out of that bubble to the social media for more things. And then to a point where I won't even try cooking. I won't even try driving. I won't even get out of bed today. So it makes us, as a society, it makes us fundamentally weaker as people. Now, is there some good to it? I think that there probably is, but as a people, we're not good at metering ourselves. We never have been good at metering ourselves. We never stop and say, I've done too much of this today. I need to get up and go outside and talk to people. We don't do that. We're terrible at it. I'm terrible at it. I will admit that I'm terrible at it. But if we were able to take the two and get them intermingled so we use them in a productive way, it would be okay. But it has nothing to do with being better people. It has to do with the click-through rate. Everybody just wants to get hits and hits and hits and hits. It isn't about is what I'm doing better for society and better for me. It's just about click, 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 click. That's all that matters now. And I think that's what's kind of brought us to where we are now, and how people just get, I don't know, they're so oblivious to what's actually happening around them, in the simplest things, whether it's, your neighbor needing help, or something happens in traffic and you have no idea what's happening, but you're already mad, and and it might be some old lady had a heart attack and crashed her car, and you're not cognizant of that because you don't care, because you don't take the time to absorb it. We absorb the things that happen in our lives in 30-second chunks now. That's what we do. That's our attention span. We're fucking goldfish now. That's what we are. We're goldfish.
I agree. Yeah.
Go ahead, Mike.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, it's bad. Like, I remember there was a period of time where I didn't want to invest too much energy into anything, and just like throwing on Twitch, I just turn my brain off, and I'm like scrolling. I have Twitch on the TV. I'm scrolling on my phone through like Instagram or whatever, and it makes you so unproductive and lazy. I think social media can definitely be used for good. There's pockets of good there. There's also a lot of negatives. I think it's cool when art, like social media and art, is like, I follow a lot of art accounts. I don't know if Pinterest is considered social media, but I love Pinterest. I guess it's like, and I love Tumblr because it's just trash and it's my favorite kind of garbage, but it's like, I've curated my Tumblr to just be the trash I want to see. and it's just Star Wars and like other stuff, anime. I don't know. There is a TikToker. I think he's on Instagram too. Old Man Steve. You gotta follow anybody. Follow Old Man Steve because he's great and he's wholesome, and that's the kind of content I want. So it's just him making things. Like he'll make like a sandwich, or he'll just show you something, or show you a magic trick. I'm like, see, because you just make little connections sometimes. He's just the old man, just just vibing out there. That's good social media.
But that's. Oh, I'm sorry, Clark. I'll be real fast. That's the difference between somebody wanting a connection and somebody wanting to make money. That's the difference.
That's true.
That's true.
Yeah, all I was going to say was I was going to start I want to start an account because we're talking about like how some of these like, I don't know, useless content creator things are. I kind of want to start one where it's, nobody watches the writer do his art. I kind of want to start an account of me, like just people watching me write a novel, and it's just me wearing out a backspace button.
That actually sounds really cozy. There's like study with me videos where
it's going to be typing. It's typing ASMR is all it is. It's just me like
play some gentle like not copyrighted whatever. Like what is it?
Oh no, I can't. Yeah, there's going to be synth wave in the background. And
do you have a
have a what?
Do you have a fireplace?
No, not here in this current abode.
Well, maybe if you typed outside with near a fire pit, so you get the fire crackling, and you're just clacking away.
Nice.
Hey man, I would subscribe. I would for sure do that.
Yeah, and you could like have a time, like it's like one of those study channels where they have like the timers or whatever. It's like what is it, Pomodoro? I don't know, something.
Clark, you really need to do this.
Please do it.
There would be, I will do it, but there will be a lot of exasperated like sighs and looks.
Even better.
It is.
That it just. That sounds great. I would go to sleep to that.
And you'll hear me just like hard clacking the backspace and going,
yeah.
Fuck.
Yes.
What's the videos you're talking about? The Minecraft parents arguing.
Oh yeah, there's these that are like it's 2005 and you're playing Minecraft where your parents argue downstairs, and it's just like videos of like this muffled arguing and screaming while there's like Minecraft soundtrack and like clicking around. It's hilarious. It's my girlfriend dumped me and they're playing Deftones at the prom, but I'm in the bathroom. Or there's there's a Halo 2 one. It's great. It's just a bunch of sound effects
and like people
for nostalgia.
Arguing.
Yeah,
it's so funny. I watch all those things.
You know what's funny? So just in the last couple of months I've come to understand what ASMR is. And I'll be honest, my first thought was, what a bunch of fucking useless douchebags that probably live in their mommy's basement that like this shit. No, and this is just me being honest. And then, like I said earlier, I come downstairs when my 3D printers are running, and when I sit down and I calm down and I just listen to them work. Now I get it. Okay, yeah. I didn't have a title for it before. I didn't know what it was. Now I understand. So that's what we as people need to do. Is be better at understanding what the person next to us is thinking, feeling, doing. Now, be mindful. I can't put 100% of my energy into understanding everybody else. I can't do that because then I have nothing left for me. But we can put a little bit. And if we put a little bit, then we can start to get a lot of the rest of the world. And I think that we've kind of come to the conclusion that for Lily's topic tonight, this guy, we all hate him. And I think I am happy to every day put at least 2% of my energy into hating this guy. I will put a dedicated 2% because this guy is an exploitive asshole. That's really what he is. The thing that I don't get, and maybe this is how we can finish up and really talk about this and really understand, how do you become an exploitive asshole? How do you get to a place where you want to use every person around you or every person that you can find that might be having a bad day, a negative experience, a life-altering experience, and your first thought is, I'm going to use this person to my gain. I don't get that. It's so foreign to me. To do that. I'm such a giver by nature. I don't understand wanting to take a person's worst moment and make it worse. I don't get that.
Mm-hmm.
So like, it's not narcissism, is it?
Sociopathy.
Or yeah, it's
Sociopathy is. I mean, the goal outweighs the casualties.
Dark triad.
Yeah.
Go back and look it up. Dark triad. That's effing weird. Look it up. It's a thing. It hurts. It hurts me a little bit inside to think that, like, I'm never gonna care about every single person that I encounter because I don't have the energy. But if I encounter somebody who is on the downslope, to actively work to make things worse is such a foreign concept to me. I don't get it, but I also often think that that's a lot of what social media is. It's one person using somebody else's bad day to make their day better. And
yeah, that's exactly what Fish Tank is, and I can't wait for next week.
Okay,
but
okay.
It's wholesome in a weird way.
It's imagine, you know, those MK Ultra stuff that was like declassified, where they were like dosing Johns with LSD in Project Moonlight, stuff like that. So imagine a house full of people where you slowly break them down, making them do various tasks for $50,000. It starts off slow and then it ramps up to where there's like the forced cigarette smoking, like chain smoking and shaving of heads, to where they're so broken down by the end of it that it's just the best TV I've ever seen. So,
but they all signed up for it. They knew.
Yeah, it's completely voluntary. They can leave any time, but it's amazing what they've accomplished.
Yeah, I think it, like we were talking about how it builds confidence for these people.
Yeah,
they come out different.
That's the flip side. What's weird is these people have like this newfound sense of confidence. I don't know. It's kind of like there's a lot of people that like coast in life, like personality wise, engaging in different avenues of life. They just kind of just on sleeper mode, where they're just kind of going through the motions, and then it either by choice or by chance, every now and then your world's shaken up and you have to adapt or not, and that's that the show kind of encapsulates that, but that's the positive of it. It's not all negative. It's just great seeing the negative, but it also is a crazy confidence builder. And I don't know, the people that underwent this, some of them they were blindsided.
You thrive on the drama.
Yeah.
Well, there we go.
He thrives on it.
But back to your point about the how does someone get like that? I feel like some of these people just have that, or whatever you said, like sociopathy, where the ends outweigh everything else. I think there's just some people born without that gene, where that this is just a good idea, and then then we wind up hearing about some of them, and in this case, especially when like the snowball keeps rolling, they find themselves in situations where they naturally lean into laws, or like what you were HIPAA. There's like certain things you get, and then they find clever ways of, like, I think it's just kind of like it's a growth into it, rather. I don't know. But the situations we hear of where we're like, what? It's a, I mean, the temperature is slowly being turned up throughout all this, it's, I feel like there are some people that are just that way. And I've met some of them that they just, I don't know. I mean, look at corporate structure. Look at the companies we have, and the types of people that rise to the top quickly usually are like that. But it's more constructive than this guy's outlet or whatever.
Well, this guy's outlet actively hurts others, like actively. I mean, and not because they were denied a promotion or didn't get a raise, because of something traumatic that happened to them, and he's exploiting that. Assuming it's real, he's exploiting that, and that is, from a completely humanist perspective, that is one of the shittiest things you can do to somebody else. Is taking their pain and going, by the way, I'm going to amplify it, but for my own gain. That I can't. I don't even have words for the person that would do that, other than I'm gonna echo Meg. I've already said it. I want to find the guy and just punch him in the face repeatedly until he's learns his lesson. Because I don't like this guy. I kind of want to find him. Anybody want a road trip? Anybody? Because I mean,
I don't want to get arrested.
Well,
it'll be like when Boogie had the gun outside his door.
No.
I'm gonna fire.
Oh, Lord.
I'm gonna fire.
You know about
Well,
Boogie?
I don't know who Boogie is.
Oh,
Boogie,
we'll have to make an episode on him.
what is his last digits of his channel? Like Boogie 9.
Is the number 92.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Can't remember.
Frank Castle showed up to his door because it was like this online beef that was brewing, and he comes out with a gun and does like a warning. It was the stupidest thing I've ever seen. Boogie is hilarious, but also unintentionally hilarious. I'm gonna fire.
Well, and I will say this: if you instigate any problems in your life because you have an online beef, you are really a moron. Okay,
You should look up Boogie.
You are a
Describe
moron.
Boogie as that. That would be
of
fitting.
And then also look up Frank Castle, because he literally gives no fucks at all.
Which is
that is a
hilarious.
certain. I feel like I've met a person like that. We were talking about how he just comes off. As like
It's just like a Middle Tennessee, Atlanta guy. Grew up in the suburbs, but you just see it. He just pops into parties, then he's gone. He's just like that kind of guy.
Yeah, that's Frank Castle.
Yeah.
Is his online name Frank Castle?
Is it
His
Frank
real
Castle?
name?
I think so.
That sounds familiar.
I know.
If you Google Frank Castle, you know what you're gonna get, right?
Frank Hassel with an H.
Okay, I thought you said Frank
Castle.
Castle. I was like, that's the fucking Punisher. Like, it's
Yeah, no, not that one.
No. So yeah, but if anybody loves that kind of Frank Hassel, his videos on YouTube of him hassling people in Walmart are absolutely hilarious.
Boogie. It's
Boogie 2988.
Yeah.
2988.
But
yeah. Oh, yeah,
Frank, like there was this one where he goes in and he just stops like a guy with his shopping cart at Walmart, and he's like, hey man, I really need these things. And he just starts taking stuff out of his cart and putting it into his, and he never backs down. The guy's like, what are you doing? He's like, but he does this great like gaslighting manipulation. He's like, quick, calm down. Obviously you'd start taking something out of someone's cart, they're gonna freak out. But he's always like, calm down, what's the matter with you? What are you doing? And it's so funny.
See, I have a rebuttal to that where, now granted, I don't have like a purse or something in my like buggy or a child in my like, shopping cart to where I'm going to be like concerned with what's in it. So like, I never understood the whole thing where if like I have a shopping cart full of stuff, and if somebody just walks by and takes something out of it, I'm actually probably not going to make a big deal out of it. I'm just going to be like, I haven't paid for that yet, so it's not mine. I don't really care.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah, you would be. Yeah, you're right.
The worst target. I'm like the worst target for something like that, because someone would walk up and be like, I need this stuff. And I'm like, that's cool, man.
Yeah. You. I mean, rule number 1 of trolling: you can't give them a reaction, so you'd be safe.
Yeah, because there was like one guy who didn't give him a reaction and actually like played along. He's like, all right, have a great day. And he just left him alone after a minute.
Yeah.
He was just like, okay, well, you're cool,
what
man.
do you do to that?
Yeah. And I'm sure at the end of it,
I tried to mess with him one time. It was a guy that worked for me, and I just got his phone number. Like he just started working for me, and I just got his phone number, and like I texted him just to like, and I was gonna mess with him when I texted him, and like he just went with it like it was like trolling like a spam call, and like
Nice.
I didn't know where to go from there. I was like, I'm just gonna keep, and he just kept going back and forth, and I'm like, this kid is amazing. Like, I'm like, this is my best employee. Like, I was impressed. I was like, he's just not backing down. This is awesome. So,
Oh, that is great. Oh, that's almost like our prank call to your friend, where he was like,
yeah.
just
Garrett
went with
did
it.
not-
I was like,
just
what
did
is
not
going
care.
on? I actually want to hang out. It seemed cool.
He just got promoted, by the way. Shout out to Garrett. Congrats.
Hey, Garrett.
Garrett.
I'm about to take a sip of water with it. Pop on. Yay. Look at me.
Well, is there
Okay,
anything
so-
that you want to close this out with?
Yeah, I was just, we can chat and whatever. If you want to keep everything or cut something, I just have like a couple sentences to close out and to say bye. I have no energy left. It's getting late, so I'm just gonna power through. I think all in all, this is a pretty good example of, somebody maybe somewhere they had the good intentions, but they just got lost in the sauce. Self-admittedly, MamaMax calls himself a pedo hunter. He is very aware that he has a hero complex and that he really likes the thrill of the praise, the attention, the rewards. That's something that seemed to motivate him more and more. And it's almost the sole focus now, like the end game of what he's looking for. And it's so unfortunate. It has so many more ripples that maybe he hadn't foreseen. And I think that this story might be the one that really catches up to him. We'll just have to see if it's another story of an influencer that goes quiet for a few months, maybe for a year or two, and then comes back, sometimes even stronger from like a controversy like this. Or maybe it will be legal ramifications like we've seen today. Somebody is trying to go after him from defamation. So we'll see what comes out of it. I'm very interested to see how it turns out. Not because I'm particularly invested in this story, but I always want to know why people act the way they do. I find it fascinating. It's a bit of I don't think it's morbid curiosity, but I'm just very, very interested into why people do what they do. If you want, we can always go back, revisit this story. There are a few chapters that I haven't touched on. The whole pick a side YouTube, the pedotube hashtags we haven't talked about. There are a few stories that we can go a little bit deeper into, and who knows, we may learn more about Spencer's story, about the other victims, and about this mysterious vampire werewolf god Camden Gerard Davis, or by whatever name he goes by. In the meantime, that was a very fun episode of That's Effin' Weird. Thank you, everybody, for bearing with me. I hope I didn't take too much of your time. Just rambling on. Thank y'all, and good night. Remember, we don't want something that's normal. We want something that's effing weird. I hope I got it right.
And thanks to our sponsor, Circuit City.
Of course, yes, this.
And only cool people wear glasses. Just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm sorry I have perfect vision.
Get up to speed, okay? It's 2024. Come on.
You want to try on mine?
I'm good.
It's glasses, beanies, and leggings, okay?
Yeah.
Get up with the
Hey, I got the
program.
leggings. I got the leggings.
Nah.
I'm wearing a
Yeah, I'm-
skirt.
I'm-
Oh my god.
Watching too. Remember, this is our second thing. It's not only we want stuff that's effing weird. It's also we're just dudes in yoga pants. That's our second thing.
We're dudes in yoga pants. I like that.
Just
I like that a lot.
We're just
Honestly,
Using yoga pants.
I think Seth is the
No, we're
first
not.
dude I've met that wears yoga pants every day. Like, obviously, I've seen maybe
Yeah.
one or two in passing in public, but he is the only one I know that is like, I am dedicated to this. But I also
I
have
wear
a-
them
that.
to church.
They're so
I'm
comfy.
very dedicated. I wear them to very high social
Mhm.
functions in my world.
Do you have special
Always.
church
Hell
yoga
yeah.
pants? Like,
I have 10 copies of the exact same yoga pants, and I'm wearing them. So
Can't
See, I
wait
think
for
you
it.
need,
One
I
for
think
each
you need at
day.
least one pair. You need one pair of like bedazzled yoga pants. You gotta have something fancy.
Okay.
like, yeah.
You need some like yoga shorts, little tiny shorts.
Mhm.
I'm not a shorts
Mm.
guy. I don't look good in shorts.
Some little
Booty
tiny
short
Oh.
yoga
That's what we're
pants?
really missing out. Maybe
I have some
fashion
like
design.
legging shorts.
Fashion
Crotchless
design.
yoga pants. Now we're talking. There we go.
Yeah.
Just for Seth.
We can
Hold
probably
up.
cover that. Hear me out. Something weird. We can start with fashion yoga pants, and I want to like. I'm thinking like an affliction or Ed Hardy cross.
Oh my god!
Yes.
No!
Yes.
Yes.
I
We definitely
definitely
need
owned an
crosses
Ed
on the
Hardy
butt.
shirt once.
I need,
Oh, that's so bad. Let me forget
I'm gonna
about
need
those
some
days.
studs. I need some studs down the
Mhm.
seam.
Yeah.
On your-
Oh
you
no!
see where
Oh my
I'm going with
god.
this?
Get some bondage
So-
straps, and they just start turning into trip pants.
Yeah.
It's gonna sell, dude. It's gonna
Some
sell.
kind of
It has to be
monstrous,
done. Someone has to
horrible
do it.
creation. Just trip pants and Ed
I'm just-
Hardy design.
I'm just gonna keep wearing jeans because I'm comfortable. That's what I
There
sorry.
you go.
Yeah.
It's all that matters. Being comfortable is all that matters.
Amen to that.
I don't know, my
Amen.
beanies. Sorry, Clark. I would have. My beanies in the other room. It's really complicated getting out of this room with my cat. So
It's no problem. It's the glasses, I think, that bothers everybody except me.
yeah.
I
Does it bother everyone?
Yeah.
Okay.
Come on.
I did.
What the fuck is wrong
Well, I
with
did
you?
half the episode without the glasses. I like how nobody noticed until I came. Like I didn't have glasses on for like 3
Oh, I noticed. I was saving that joke, Carl. I was saving it until you put your glasses on.
I guess I'll just get some like lensless glasses to fit
There you
in.
go.
Just make the clear, like they don't.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there
just
you go.
get some
That's
like
just trying to
blue
make
light
us-
glasses or something.
Get some
Seth
Walmart
is just showing
readers.
off his
You'll be all
perfect
set.
vision. Why are you being such a
I'll
show?
get the plus ones, but yeah.